Yes.
So this is the second session. So let's continue what we was telling here. This is the procedure, and this is if you want to pass parameters to the procedure. And then if we need to move here, so this is an example of a procedure. As you can see here, he defined a procedure. It is also calling another procedure. So this procedure name is called default square. It doesn't take any parameters. And it calls this square procedure that takes an integer. So that is how it looks like when you take a parameter, a single parameter called size of type integer. So you have to define it like that. And that's how it looks like when you try to call that procedure. And if you want to know how to call this default square, so that is where you call the default square. So
Okay.
does this make any sense to you? So now you see how the procedure is defined, how it is called, and it should be clear to you. Am I right? And then we
Yeah.
look where the function. Okay, so yeah, here it is clear, and yeah, we need to move to the next to see how functions. So with functions, then you have to add to the procedure the return type. You want your function to return what? So it need to be defined here. It should not be written inside the function like the Python. So this is how a function is defined, and this is if it doesn't take any parameters, and this is if it takes parameters here. You have to give the parameter name, and this is the parameter type. So an example of that would be to come here. So this function makes return a maximum of 2 numbers. It means that it is giving number 1 and number 2, and it makes a comparison using if statement, and it returns the biggest number of the 2. Does this make sense? You see it returns an integer here. It takes 2 integer parameters, number 1, number 2, both of them of type integer. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the function name is max, and this is how you call it. Oops. This is how you call it. Okay, so it's giving 2 parameters, 10 and distance, and multiplied by 2. And it will return, whatever it return will be shown with the penalty fine equal whatever, yeah, the biggest. Does this make sense? Is it difficult?
No.
So so it means that every time we ask for a pseudocode that define a certain function, then we should also create a function like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I will not talk about that here, but I would like to, yeah, I wanted to ask you about your understanding of a local variable and a global variable. Do you know what is that?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, can you tell me what is the difference?
Well, a local variable is created in the function, while a global variable is created and can be used outside a function.
Okay, that's an excellent reply. Definitely an excellent reply. Let me see here. So have you seen before how it works to use a global variable?
Yeah.
Did you use a global keyword before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, let's let me put it here. Okay, I wanted to ask you also another question. Do you know the difference between a function and procedure? Of course you know. And do you know what is this? What is a subroutine?
No, I don't.
So, okay, both function and procedure use subroutines. Subroutine is a group of an instruction that is collected together to do a certain functionality or to do certain tasks. Okay, so a function use a subroutine, a group, which is a group of instructions to do certain function, like checking which is the biggest of the two numbers. This is an example of a subroutine. And the difference between function and procedure, that the routine, the subroutine inside the function will return something, but the subroutine inside the procedure will not return anything. Does this make sense to you so far? Tell
yes.
me.
Yes.
Okay, it makes sense to you. Good. Okay. So let me, yeah, I want to finish this part first before I forget it. Here, yeah, let us go here. You can see my screen. So I would say num 12 equal 100, and I would say define change num. I would say num 12 equal 101. Okay, and then I would say change num. I will call it this way, and I would say here print num 12 and print okay. So far, do you think that we are able to change num 12 here?
No,
Why?
because it's inside the function.
Okay, that's an excellent answer. Let us see. So yes, it's true, we are not able to change it unless we put global. Okay, he doesn't accept what? He doesn't accept global. Yeah, we have to say global first, and we have to say num 1 2 equal. Okay, something he doesn't accept. For loop, maybe we created a trouble with some. Where is line 20? He's using for range. Yeah. Let me see. Blend num. Okay. So do you see here what is the output?
Yes.
So now you understand how I can change a global variable.
Yes.
Okay. And so any variable I pass inside here have a local scope. So if I created num inside, it will have a local scope. So if I try to print num outside, it will have no presence. Is that clear to you?
Yes.
Okay, then it's perfect. Okay. So we have done that part. Let me see. I wanted to confirm what? Yeah. We go back here and let me confirm your. So you can see my screen, right? I would like to make sure that you understand that, because I think you have seen in the exam, right? There is a certain scenario exam question that come, I think, at the end of the exam, and at the previous exam it have 15 mark, and typically you can write it with a pseudocode or you can write it with a Python. If you know how to write it with a Python, then it will save you time and number of lines that you need to write. So I would like to understand, do you understand how to use append in 2D arrays?
No, I don't.
Okay, what else do we need to check then? Okay, so this is the 2D array. Okay, and yeah, this is a 2D array. Okay, and so it means here how many rows we have and how many columns.
We have 2 rows and 3 columns.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So do you know how to get the length of how many rows, and you put it in a, so typically if you want to go through a for loop and iterate through or traverse a 2D array, you need two for loops, one for the row, one for the column. You can put which one first, it doesn't matter. It depends on the purpose that you are trying to serve, or the problem that you're trying to solve. Okay, so to get the number of rows, you can use the length of the array like that. And this is, we know it from the list, right? From the 1D arrays, right? There is nothing new here. So what about this? What about how to know the number of the length of the columns? How many columns? How can we know that? Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so we write here length. Of course, we have to write range, and then we write in the middle. So that is array 2D. Okay, but in this case, we will put 0. Okay, so when you do that, actually, you are telling go to this, because this is I mean, if you want to know the first row, this is the first row, and get me the size or the length of the first row. So by doing so, you already know the length of the number of the columns here. Or easy also, another possibility, you can just say length of row, and but here, yeah. So you see, the first time I loop, I get 1 row. So 1 row is 1 like that, right? The second, this is the second row, right? Does this make sense?
Yes.
So when it is passed here in a range, so and it will get the length of it, it will also tell that it is 3. So this is the same. The two ways works. Does this make sense to you? Tojo,
Yes,
I cannot hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so Tojo, you have two possibilities that you can make. Some ways that the people use to solve the exam thing, that that they give you the size of the list or the 2D array, and they tell you how you can they give you in a separate variables the size of the array, or of the 2D arrays. Okay,
Yes.
and if you need to write it in the code without using these two variables that they give you in the exam, you can do it this way that I showed to you. Okay, is that perfect? Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say here, so okay, to be able, there is 2 things that we can do here. Let me close this, and yeah, I can use append with a row. So it means that I do it this way. Okay, if I do it this way, so it means that it is inside the first for loop, which is looping through the rows. So if I add append like that, it will add here the extra value that I want to extend the array with. So it will come here, and it will add another number. The first time the for loop runs, so that will be sorry, I make a mistake actually. So not a mistake, but But in the current way, that this range, no, sorry, I don't want to tell it to you this way. Let me share with you some code so that I can tell you what I mean. Let me see if I have 2D arrays here so that we save the time. Let me explain that to you. So there is, so this is a 2D array that we have. And that is a method, actually, you can see my screen, right? So this is a
Yeah.
method to loop through the array, okay? But there is another method, actually, to loop through the array. So when you loop through the array using this method, what row gives to you is only a number. Do you understand this? Do you understand
Yes.
what's the meaning? It give you a number?
Yes.
Okay. So have you seen, if we copy that actually, so if we say row, and then we can say even let me see if this works as it should be. Let me get this somehow here. Okay, see. What else? Why it doesn't like? Again, this is line number 10. Yes, 1, 2. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see here. Column, column. Okay. So it actually print none here when I try to print something. But because that is, I take an array without filling it and I just try to print it. So can you see, can you see what I'm doing here?
Yes.
So if I put 5 here, let's put 3, let's put here 2 to make it not so big. So do you see when I change, so do you see what I'm able to print here? I'm able to print whatever inside the element. It's a real element of the array itself. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
And but again, if I use in range, that it's a different story. So when I use in range, so let me try to, I don't want to ruin the code, but I just print here. So if I print dot format, and let me see here, we have column and we say row and we say dash column. Yeah, let me see if what we print here. Okay, can you see here what we are trying to print?
Yes.
So that will not make sense to you because again the array is no, wait. First, tell me first, do you understand what is this line is doing? Jojo, I cannot hear you.
Yes. It's assigning a random number between 10 and 15 to each part of the array.
Okay, perfect. So do you think I will be able to print that kind of lines here if I do like that? Let me increase that to I want this to be 4 and I would like, yeah, leave it like that. So yeah, So that is 4 that we printed before, and what I'm printing here is only printing the values of the row. So it print 0, 1, and 2 because we have 3 rows. So you see, we have 3 rows, we have 2 columns, and you will see that the column that we have is with the values is either 0 or 1 because we have only 2, right? Tojo, can you follow up with me?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know the difference now between running this way and this way?
It-
Tojo, I didn't hear you very well.
well, they both result in the same thing, I think.
Both result in the same thing, but they are not operating the same way.
Yes.
Here, it gives you the element inside the array. Here, it have no relation to the element. This is just bare numbers. If you just print the number, this is just printing the number here. So
Yes.
see, okay, I want to show you that the difference here. If I copy that here, I would say I put it here. Array element. And no need to print that. So Tojo, when row equals 0 and column equals 0, the array element itself is 28. Did I manage to get you? So that is a real, this is a real content here. The array is, let me see. We said we have 3 rows, right? 1,
Yes.
2. So this 0, 1, and 2. And how many columns? We have 2 columns.
Yes.
0 and 1. So at the row 0 and column 0, the array element is 28 here.
Okay. Yes.
And when row 0 and column 1, the array element is 39. Okay, so now did I manage to make it clear to you that the
Yes.
difference between when you're using range, you actually iterating through a numbers. So the number row go from 0 until the length of the until the number of rows. Okay, and how to say, and this column is also start from 0 until the length of this first row. So it will get whatever the length, how many elements here, it will count 0, 1. There's 2 elements, so it will start with 0 here, and it will take also 1. But this way, it doesn't go. It doesn't use any numbers anymore. It just takes the element itself. So when we run the first loop here, the first time row will have a value, it will have 28. The second time it will have a value, it will have 39. Can you see the difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to make sure that you know. So last thing that, let me see. So if I wanted to write length row here, it will not work. If I write length row, it will not work here. It doesn't make sense because at the end row is a number here. In this case, row makes sense that you use the length with if it is here, because row here is actually a kind of element. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That I wanted to make sure of. So yes, like we was trying to tell here, the append here adds 1,000 here, and that's because it's adding to the row. So the first row will be 0, so it will just add 0 to 1,000. So that will be whatever it add to the first row. The second row, here row will be 1. It added 2,000. It will add 1,001 here. So, but what if we want to add? Sorry, Tojo. What did you say?
I was just saying, okay, yes.
Okay, so Tojo, what if you want to add to the end of the? You want to add to the end of the 2D array outside, not inside the third row. So that will be considered the, so okay, 0, that's the first row, second row, third row, and fourth row. So you add more rows actually when you append this way.
Right.
Okay, so does this make sense so far?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Tojo, you are able to use also insert with a 2D array. Actually, you're still able to use insert with a 1D arrays also the same way. The difference here that you have to use row if you want to insert in a certain position here. So if you are looping and you are in the first loop here, then you are able to choose which position you want to insert. Okay, you want to insert on, so this is a 0 position, 1 and 2. So you want to insert here. So that's how you do it. Okay. If you want to insert at the end, so this is how you do it here. If you want to insert in the middle also, you are able to do that by doing this insertion. It tell you, so append just put at the end, and insert, you can specify what position you want to insert in. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So let me move fast here. So you told me that you have seen sum and minimum and maximum before. Did you use it with a 2D array?
No, I haven't.
So did you use it with a 1D array?
Yes.
Okay, so it is the same because so again, once you come out from the first for loop and you come inside the second loop, okay, so actually what you'll be looping here is that part, right?
Yes.
So that is considered a 1D array. You're not able to do a sum and a minimum and maximum on the whole 2D array. You're not able to do that, but you're able to do it on a single. This is considered 1D array. One row is considered 1D array. So you're able to get the sum of it, the minimum of it, and the maximum of it this way.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are able, if you want to sum a 2D array, so you have to sum the number of rows and you have to add them until you reach a total number, and that total number will be the sum of the whole 2D arrays. Do you remember I showed you a code, a slightly complicated piece of code? This piece of code actually can get you the sum of a 2D array just in one line.
Okay.
Did you remember that?
No.
Do you still remember that?
No.
That not at all, really?
Yes, yes, okay, yes.
Okay, so I would say because again that is actually some of the exam questions. They give you a 2D arrays and they want to get some values for it. Sometimes they want to get averages, okay, and sometimes they want to get just total numbers, okay. So I would say if you have just, yeah, okay, we have to close and we have to start again. Sorry.
Okay.